Cole Bennett's hands trembled as he reached for the discount milk, the kind with the dented carton that nobody else wanted. His daughter Harper hummed beside him, oblivious to the fact that her birthday cake would come from a clearance bin. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. Layoffs were coming soon. Then he saw her, Vivian Cross, the new CEO, standing frozen in the dairy aisle in a designer suit, staring at organic yogurt like it was written in a foreign language. But she wasn't alone. A man in an expensive coat approached her, sharp jaw, colder eyes. Cole heard the venom. "You'll never convince them you can run that company alone, Vivian. You need a man." Vivian's face went pale. Her eyes darted across the supermarket and locked onto Cole's. She crossed the distance in 5 strides, heels clicking like a countdown. Up close, he could see the desperation behind that CEO mask. Her breath was shallow. She leaned in, her whisper cutting like broken glass. "Pretend you're my boyfriend right now or lose your job." Harper looked up, confused. The man was coming closer. Cole had seconds to decide. The supermarket felt smaller. His mind raced through impossible calculations. The layoff list was real, his name third from the top. Medical bills from his late wife's cancer still arriving monthly. The man in the expensive coat was closing in, predator sizing up prey. Vivian's hand touched his arm, and Cole made his choice. He straightened his spine and stepped closer to Vivian. "Hey," he said, his hand resting on Vivian's back. "Sorry I'm late. Harper wanted to see the toy aisle." Harper waved with her sticky hand, and Vivian smiled down at her before looking up at the approaching man. "Brandon, this is Cole Bennett, my boyfriend, and his daughter, Harper." The word boyfriend hung in the air like a challenge. Brandon stopped 3 feet away, his expression flickering through confusion to cold dismissal. "Boyfriend? Since when, Vivian? Last I heard you were crying about never trusting another man." His eyes slid to Cole, dismissive and sharp. "Warehouse worker. You always did have a thing for charity cases." Before Cole could respond, Harper stepped forward, her voice ringing clear and proud. "My daddy isn't charity. He works 3 jobs and makes me breakfast every morning and helps me with homework, even when he's really tired. He's the best daddy in the whole world." She crossed her arms, glaring up at Brandon. "You're mean." The silence that followed was deafening. Then Vivian laughed, a real laugh, and crouched down to Harper's level, shaking her sticky hand like they were sealing a business deal. "You're absolutely right. Your daddy is pretty great, and that man is being mean." She stood, threading her fingers through Cole's with surprising ease. "Brandon, we're done here. Cole and I have groceries to finish." Brandon's face darkened. "This isn't over, Vivian. The board meeting is coming. They're going to question your judgment, your stability. A sudden boyfriend isn't going to change that." He leaned closer. "I'll make sure they know exactly what kind of desperate move this is." Then he turned and walked away, his expensive shoes squeaking one final time before he disappeared. Cole stood frozen, Vivian's hand still clasped in his, Harper looking between them with confusion. Finally, Vivian let go and stepped back. "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have dragged you into this. I panicked. He's been following me, and I thought if he saw me with someone, he might back off." She laughed without humor. "I'll explain to him tomorrow that you're not actually my boyfriend. You don't have to worry about your job." But Cole was shaking his head, pieces clicking together. "The board meeting? Oh, yeah, about all the meeting. What happens if they decide you're not fit to run the company?" Vivian's shoulders sagged slightly. "Then Brandon gets what he wants. He's got family ties to board members. Been poisoning them against me since the divorce. Says I'm too emotional, too unstable. If they vote no confidence, he takes over as interim CEO. I lose everything, the company my father built, my career, everything." Harper tugged on Cole's shirt. "Daddy, what's happening? Why does the mean man want to hurt Miss Cross?" Her eyes were wide, concerned. "Can't you help her? You always help people." Something shifted in Cole's chest. He thought about the layoff list, about Harper's birthday, about the medical bills. He thought about his late wife's promise. Keep fighting, teach Harper that sometimes the right thing is the hardest thing. And he thought about Vivian Cross, cornered and desperate, looking for any lifeline. If I pretend to be your boyfriend until the board meeting, would that help convince them you're stable, Christine? Cole said. In exchange, you keep me off the layoff list, maybe a bonus, enough to cover my wife's medical bills. Vivian stared at him like he'd offered water in a desert. You do that? You don't even know me. This could get complicated, messy, and if it comes out we're faking, it'll be worse than if I face the board alone. $10,000, Cole said. That's what I need to clear the biggest medical bills and to guarantee my job is safe for at least a year after the meeting. In exchange, I'll be the most devoted fake boyfriend you've ever seen. Vivian glanced down at Harper, then back at Cole. What do we tell her? Kids aren't good at keeping secrets. Cole crouched down to Harper's level. Harper's sweetheart, Miss Cross needs help. For a little while, I'm going to pretend to be her boyfriend to help her with some grown-up problems. It's like acting in a play. Just pretend, okay? Harper's face scrunched in concentration. Like when I pretended to be a princess for the school play, and everyone believed I was really a princess even though I was just me in a costume? She looked at Vivian with new interest. Are you pretending to need a boyfriend like I pretended to need a prince? Oh, something like that, Vivian said, her smile genuine and a little sad. But this game has to stay between us. Can you keep a secret? A really important one? Harper nodded solemnly, drawing an X over her heart. Cross my heart. I'm really good at secrets. Deal, Vivian said, extending her hand to Cole. He stood and shook it, her grip firm despite the surreal nature of what they were agreeing to. I'll have something drafted. We stage a quiet breakup after. Cole nodded. Starting now? Starting now. Vivian pulled out her phone. We should exchange numbers and maybe learn basic things. What's your favorite color? Blue, Cole said, like the ocean. Yours? Red, like wine and stop signs. Things that get you in trouble. They exchanged numbers, and when their fingers brushed, electricity ran through Cole. I should finish shopping, he said. If anyone asks, how did we meet? Vivian thought for a moment. Here, the supermarket. You helped me with grocery bags. We exchanged numbers, went for coffee, simple, believable, kind of romantic. They stood there another moment. Then Harper yawned. I'll let you go, Vivian said. Thank you, Cole. Really, you have no idea what this means. She looked at Harper. And thank you for defending your dad. He's lucky to have you. I know, Harper said simply, pulling Cole toward checkout. Cole looked back once and saw Vivian still standing there, watching them go with an expression he couldn't quite read. Loneliness, maybe, something that made her look less like a CEO and more like someone who'd forgotten what it felt like to be chosen. The first week passed in careful coordination, text messages at odd hours. Vivian sent several the first night, unable to sleep, apologizing for the spam. Cole responded each time, and they fell into a rhythm of late-night conversations that felt more real than anything they were supposed to be faking. They met for coffee twice, practiced their story until it felt natural, where they met, when they knew it was serious, why Cole, a warehouse worker, would interest a CEO. People love the single dad test, Vivian explained during their second coffee. If a woman can handle meeting the kid, she's serious. It makes us look committed. Is that what we are? Cole asked. Committed? Vivian paused. To the arrangement? Absolutely. To each other? Ask me again later. The first real test came when Vivian called in a panic. I need you at dinner tonight. My mother wants to meet you, and I couldn't think of an excuse fast enough. Cole agreed, found a babysitter, and made it to Morello's. Vivian waited outside, pacing in heels and a red dress that took his breath away. When she saw him, her face flooded with relief. You came. Of course I came. Now tell me everything about your mother. Constance Cross was waiting inside, a woman with steel gray hair and eyes that missed nothing. She watched them approach like a general surveying troops. Mother, Vivian said tightly, this is Cole Bennett. Cole extended his hand. Mrs. Cross, it's an honor. Constance shook with a grip that could crack walnuts. Mr. Bennett, my daughter tells me you work at the warehouse. Yes, ma'am. Honest work. How refreshing, Constance said dryly. My ex-son-in-law was a lawyer. Very dishonest work, as it turned out. Dinner was a minefield of questions designed to trip him up, Cole answered honestly where he could, dodged when necessary. When Constance asked about Harper's mother, the table went silent. She died, Cole said quietly. Cancer. Harper was young. Constance's face softened. I'm sorry for your loss. Thank you. Harper keeps me going. Children do that, Constance said. Give us reasons to keep fighting. She looked at Vivian. My daughter has been fighting alone too long. I'm glad she found someone willing to stand beside her. Cole met her eyes. I don't want to change Vivian or control her. I like who she is. Strong, smart, kind when she doesn't think anyone's watching. My job isn't to fix her. It's just to be there, to remind her she doesn't have to carry everything alone. Vivian's hand tightened in his under the table, and he saw tears in her eyes. Constance nodded slowly. That's the right answer, Mr. Bennett. Whether it's true remains to be seen. After Constance left, Vivian and Cole sat in silence. You were perfect, Vivian said. She liked you, I could tell. She's terrifying. Cole admitted, but I get why she's protecting you. He looked at their intertwined hands on the table. V, about what I said. Don't, Vivian said softly. Don't take it back. Even if you were just playing a part, it was nice to hear. It's been so long since anyone saw me as something other than broken or difficult or too much. Cole's chest tightened. You're not too much. You're just right. The words hung between them, loaded with meaning neither was ready to unpack. We should go, Vivian said finally. You have a daughter to get back to. And she paused. I don't want to keep you from your real life. This is becoming my real life, Cole said before he could stop himself. These dinners, these conversations, it's all starting to feel more real than anything I've had. Vivian's eyes searched his face. That's dangerous, Cole, for both of us. I know, but you're not backing out, are you? She smiled, small and uncertain. No, I'm not. Then I guess we're both in trouble. Cole wanted to tell her he wasn't playing a part, that every word at dinner had been true, but they had weeks left, and admitting real feelings would complicate everything. So he changed the subject. When do you want Harper and me for dinner with your mom? You promised her she could meet Harper. Vivian's face lit up. Sunday dinner, I'll cook, well, you'll cook, and I'll try not to burn down my kitchen. Deal. Time you learned at least one domestic skill besides making coffee. Sunday dinner should have been awkward. Instead, it was one of the best evenings Cole could remember. Harper charmed Constance within minutes by asking if she wanted to see the rainbow bookshelf they'd organized together. Miss V likes colors now, Harper announced proudly. Daddy says it's impractical, but I think it's beautiful. Constance raised an eyebrow at her daughter. Miss V? It's what Harper calls me, Vivian explained, looking embarrassed and pleased. And Cole calls me V. Apparently Vivian is too formal for people who actually like me. It is too formal, Constance agreed. I never understood why your father insisted on such a stuffy name. I wanted to call you Ivy. Ivy Cross? Vivian wrinkled her nose. That sounds like a villain in a soap opera, Mother. It's botanical and elegant, Constance said with dignity, then turned to watch Cole in the kitchen, attempting to teach Vivian how to layer lasagna. You're quite patient with her, Mr. Bennett. Cole, please. And it's not patience. She's actually good at this once she stops overthinking everything. Vivian struggled with the pasta sheets, her corporate competence deserting her completely. She kept looking at Cole for approval after every layer, like she was afraid of failing even at something this simple. It made Cole's heart ache. You're doing great, he said quietly, just for her. See, perfect layers, she whispered back, but she was smiling in a way that made her look younger, less burdened. Dinner was chaotic and wonderful. Harper talked nonstop about school, her teacher, and her best friend who'd moved away. Constance listened with genuine interest, asking questions that showed she actually cared about the answers. Cole watched Vivian watching her mother interact with Harper, saw the longing in her eyes, the unspoken grief for the children she'd lost and might never have. When Harper asked Vivian if she had any kids, the table went quiet. No, sweetheart, Vivian said softly, but I always wanted them. You can share me, Harper offered with the generous simplicity of childhood. I have lots of love, And Daddy says love gets bigger when you share it, not smaller. Vivian's eyes filled with tears. That's very sweet, Harper. Thank you. She looked at Cole, something vulnerable and terrified in her expression. This was becoming too real, too fast, and they both knew it, but neither seemed able to stop. The next weeks blurred together. Cole and Vivian fell into a rhythm that felt natural despite its artificial origins. Dinners twice a week, Harper becoming their constant companion and unofficial chaperone, weekend mornings at Vivian's apartment, which slowly transformed from sterile showpiece to actual home, with Harper's artwork on the refrigerator, Cole's coffee mug in the cabinet, and photographs that told the story of three people learning to become a family. At the warehouse, the whispers started almost immediately. Cole felt eyes on him during every shift, heard the conversations that stopped when he walked into the break room. Most co-workers were curious but harmless. A few, like Curtis, were openly hostile. Curtis cornered Cole one afternoon in the loading dock, away from supervisors and security cameras. "So you and the CEO, huh?" Curtis said, leaning against a stack of pallets with calculated casualness. "That's convenient. Right before layoffs, suddenly you're dating the boss who has the power to keep you employed." Cole kept loading boxes, refusing to take the bait. "It's not like that, Curtis." "Why not it?" Curtis stepped closer, his voice dropping to a harsh whisper. "Come on, Benedict. I've got seniority, better numbers, a family to feed. But somehow your name disappeared from that layoff list while mine is still there. You want to tell me that's a coincidence?" The accusation stung because part of Cole wondered the same thing. Was he really safe because of Vivian, or would he have survived the cuts anyway? "I don't control the layoff decisions," Cole said carefully. "Neither does she. It comes from corporate budgeting." "Right, and the fact that you're sleeping with a corporate has nothing to do with it." Curtis's jaw tightened. "You think you're better than the rest of us, Bennett? You think because some rich woman decided you were her charity case, you've escaped the real world? She's using you for something, and when she's done, you'll be the one who gets burned. Rich people always win. Guys like us are just collateral damage." The words lodged in Cole's chest like shrapnel. That night, he couldn't sleep. He lay awake thinking about Curtis's accusations, about the $10,000 sitting in his bank account, about whether everything he felt for Vivian was real or just a sophisticated form of survival instinct. Unable to stand his own thoughts anymore, he texted her, "Are you awake?" The response came within seconds. "Always? Can't sleep." "Curtis confronted me today. Said I'm only safe because of you. Said you're using me, and I'm too stupid to see it." His phone rang immediately. "Cole," Vivian's voice was tight with emotion, "Curtis is wrong. You're not on the layoff list because you're good at your job. I pulled your file. Your efficiency ratings are in the top 15%. You were never in real danger. But you looked at my file. You made sure." "Of course I did. I wasn't going to let them lay off someone valuable just because some bean counter in corporate didn't look closely enough at the numbers. But Cole, that has nothing to do with us, with this." A pause. "Or does it? Are you having second thoughts?" Cole thought about Harper, asleep in the next room, about how his daughter had started drawing pictures of our family that included Vivian. He thought about the way Vivian had taught Harper that being smart wasn't something to hide, about the way she'd learned to fold laundry just so she could help him on Sunday afternoons, about the thousand small moments that had accumulated into something he was terrified to name. "No," he said finally, "I'm not having second thoughts. I'm just scared. This has gotten so far beyond what we agreed to, and I don't know how to navigate it anymore." "I'm scared too," Vivian admitted, her voice barely a whisper. "Every morning I wake up and think this is the day it all falls apart. The day you realize I'm too much work, or Harper gets hurt because we dragged her into our mess, or Brandon finds something we missed and destroys everything." She took a shaky breath. "But then you text me good morning. Or Harper sends me a picture she drew. Or I see you waiting in the parking lot at the end of my workday, and I think maybe it's worth being scared if this is what's on the other side." "What is on the other side, V?" "I don't know yet, but I want to find out. Do you?" "Yeah," Cole said, "I really do." The breaking point came when Cole received a bank notification. $10,000 deposited from Vivian Cross, the payment they'd agreed on. Looking at those numbers on his phone screen, Cole felt physically sick. He'd forgotten this was a transaction. He'd let himself believe it was something more, something real. The money was proof that no matter how many dinners they shared or how many times Harper called Vivian Miss V with genuine affection, this had started as a business arrangement, and maybe that's all it would ever be. He called her immediately, his hands shaking. "Why did you send the money now? The board meeting isn't for weeks." Vivian's voice was small, fragile, in a way he'd never heard before. "I wanted you to have it in case something happens before then. In case Brandon finds out and everything falls apart and you walk away. At least you'd have what you need, what we agreed on." "V, that's not—" Cole stopped, not sure what he was trying to say, that it wasn't about the money anymore, that he'd stay even without it. But would he? If Harper needed something, if the bills came due, if Vivian asked him to choose between financial security and whatever undefined thing was growing between them, what would he choose? "Cole, I need to tell you something." Vivian's voice cracked, and he could tell she'd been crying. "Brandon knows. I don't know how, but he knows we're faking. He called me today, said he has evidence we just met, that the timeline doesn't match what we've been telling people. Security footage from the supermarket, time-stamped, showing that exact moment I approached you. He's going to present it at the board meeting." Cole's world tilted. He sat down hard on his couch, the room spinning. "What kind of evidence?" "Everything. The camera footage showing we were strangers, bank records showing I paid you. He's built an entire case proving this was a fabricated relationship designed to manipulate the board's perception of my stability." She laughed bitterly. "We were so careful about our story, about our public appearances, but we forgot about the cameras. How stupid could I be?" "You're not stupid," Cole said automatically. "We both missed it." But his mind was already racing ahead, calculating consequences. What would happen to Harper if this blew up publicly? Would her classmates' parents whisper about her father who sold himself to a CEO? Would she understand he'd done it for her, or would she just remember the shame? "What happens now?" he asked, his voice hollow. "Now we decide if we fight or if we fold. If we try to explain that, yes, it started fake but became real, which sounds desperate and unconvincing even to me, or if we just admit defeat and I face the board alone." Vivian was quiet for a moment. "Cole, I need you to know I'm not angry. I want you to be clear about that. This was always a long shot. You've already given me more than I deserved. Weeks of not being alone, of feeling like someone gave a damn whether I succeeded or failed, of Harper's laugh and your terrible jokes and learning how to fold laundry and cook lasagna. That's more than I've had in years. Maybe more than I'll ever have again." "Stop," Cole said, his voice harder than he intended. "Stop talking like this is over. Stop acting like a few weeks of happiness is all you deserve, and you should be grateful for the scraps. I'm not. You're already planning your exit strategy, already convinced this has to end badly because everything always ends badly for you. But I'm not ready to give up on this, on us. Are you?" Silence stretched between them, heavy with everything they'd been avoiding saying. Finally, Vivian spoke, her voice barely audible. "No, I'm not ready to give up. But Cole, even if we fight, even if we try to make them believe us, what if they don't? What if we expose our real feelings and they still vote no confidence? Then I lose everything, and you lose your job anyway. And Harper loses the person she started calling Miss V like you're already part of our family. Maybe it's better to quit while we're ahead." "We're not ahead." "Ahead," Cole said firmly. "We're terrified and confused and in way over our heads, but we're in it together, and that counts for something." He thought about what Vivian had said at dinner with Constance, about standing beside her, not in front of her. "Here's what we do. We stop trying to look like the perfect couple, and we just be honest. We let people see that, yes, it started as a transaction, but it became something real. We stop hiding behind the story we made up and tell the truth, messy, complicated, imperfect truth." "The truth is terrifying," Vivian whispered. "The truth is we're falling in love," Cole said, and heard her breath catch. And that's the most convincing argument we have. The next weeks were a masterclass in authenticity. Cole and Vivian had their first real fight about Harper, about boundaries, about whether Vivian had any right to suggest better schools. They made up, both exhausted and raw. They went public in small ways. Lunch at the diner where Cole's coworkers could see them, weekends at the park where Harper's classmates played, coffee at the library on Saturday mornings. Let them see this isn't some corporate affair, Cole said. It's two people from different worlds trying to figure out how to fit together. That's a better story. Constance returned for the board meeting and one morning over coffee, cornered Cole. I want to show you something. She handed him a thick folder, evidence of Brandon's affairs during the marriage, his attempts to embezzle, his harassment of Vivian. I've been collecting it, she said. Cole stared at the folder. Why give this to me? Because Vivian won't use it. Too ethical. But you're not bound by the same constraints. Constance's eyes were steel. That man tried to destroy my daughter. I want him destroyed in return. Can you do it? Cole thought about Harper, about the life he wanted to build for her. Yes, I can do it. The board meeting arrived. Cole took the morning off, arriving to find 7 board members around a massive table, Brandon in the corner looking smug, Vivian at the head in her power suit. When Cole entered, every head turned. Mr. Bennett, when the chairman said surprised, this is closed. I invited him, Vivian said steadily. If we're discussing my personal life, I want him here to defend himself. Brandon smiled. By all means, let's hear from the warehouse worker. Tell us, when exactly did you meet Vivian? He hit play on his laptop, grainy footage of Vivian approaching Cole in the supermarket, the desperation on her face, her whispered plea. Interesting, Brandon said. That doesn't look like a committed relationship. It looks like a desperate deal. I submit that Vivian Cross has been lying, fabricating a relationship to appear stable. That calls into question her judgment and ability to lead. The board murmured. Vivian went pale. Cole stood up. You're right. That's exactly what happened. Vivian's head snapped toward him, betrayal in her eyes, but Cole kept talking. Vivian approached me because she was desperate and scared. And you, he pointed at Brandon, were harassing her. She asked me to pretend to be her boyfriend. I said yes because I needed money and understood what it felt like to be cornered. Cole, don't, Vivian started, but Cole raised his hand. Let me finish. Yet it started as a lie, a transaction. But you want to know what happened after? We became friends, real friends. She taught my daughter that being smart and ambitious isn't something to hide. I learned that being poor doesn't make me less worthy. She learned she doesn't have to face everything alone. He pulled out Constance's folder. And then I fell in love with her, which is inconvenient and complicated and probably terrible judgment, but it's true. The room went silent. Vivian's eyes filled with tears. Cole set the folder on the table. Before you vote on Vivian's fitness, see this evidence of Brandon Walsh's affairs, his attempts to embezzle, his harassment of your CEO, thoroughly documented. Vivian wouldn't show you because she's too ethical, but I'm not bound by the same rules. He looked at Brandon, whose face had gone pale. If you're questioning her judgment, start by questioning his. The chairman opened the folder, his expression darkening. Other members leaned in, murmurs growing louder. Brandon stood, already making excuses, but no one listened. Cole walked to Vivian. I'm sorry for dropping that on you, but I meant every word. You love me? Vivian whispered. Yeah, I do. Terrible timing. She laughed through tears. The worst. So fire me. Tell me I'm an idiot. Instead, Vivian grabbed his face and kissed him right there in front of the board, in front of Brandon, in front of everyone. The chairman was smiling when they pulled apart. Mr. Walsh, security will escort you out. We'll be auditing your involvement. Brandon left without a word. The vote was unanimous. Vivian stayed as CEO with full confidence. The room emptied until just Cole and Vivian remained, still holding each other. You love me, Vivian said again. I do. Is that okay, Cole? You just destroyed your plan. You told them everything. You could have kept the money and walked away clean. Because somewhere between the supermarket and teaching you to cook lasagna, you stopped being a job and started being someone I couldn't imagine my life without. Vivian smiled, real and bright and free. So is that a yes to the love thing? That's a terrifying, complicated, probably going to be messy yes. They left together, and outside, Constance was waiting with Harper. Did it work? Harper asked. Are you still Miss V? I'm still Miss VB, Vivian said, crouching down. If that's okay with you. It's okay with me. Harper threw her arms around Vivian. Good, because I told my friends I'm getting a new mom, and it would be embarrassing if I was wrong. Constance laughed. The child has spoken. You two better make this official. Eventually, Nicole said, pulling them both into a hug. Let's start with real dating first, just us figuring it out. I can do that, Vivian agreed. Though fair warning, I'm bad at dating. Good thing I'm not going anywhere. They went to lunch at the diner, the four of them crammed into a booth. Harper ordered pancakes and got syrup everywhere. Constance told embarrassing stories. Cole's coworkers stared, but he didn't care. This was his life now. Messy, public, nothing like what he'd planned. It was perfect. Cole stood in their apartment. They'd combined households when his lease ended. Harper was at a sleepover. The apartment quiet. Vivian was cooking dinner without supervision, something that still amazed him. She'd gotten good at basics: pasta, stir fry, even roast chicken. V, Cole called, can you come here? She walked in, wiping her hands on a towel, and found Cole on one knee. Her eyes went wide, hand flying to her mouth. I know we said we'd take it slow, Cole started, but Harper asked yesterday when she could call you mom, and I didn't know how to tell her she has to wait for paperwork. I know this apartment feels more like home than anywhere I've lived. I know I want to stop pretending we're taking it slow and admit we're both all in. He pulled out a ring, nothing fancy but real in his, earned with his own money from his recent promotion. Vivian Cross, will you marry me for real this time? Vivian was crying, laughing, sinking to her knees. Yes, God, yes. Of course, yes. The ring slid on perfectly. They kissed on the floor of their apartment, and Cole thought about that night in the supermarket, how desperate and scared they'd both been, how neither could have imagined that panic would lead to this, to love, to family, to home. I love you, Vivian whispered. I love you too, Cole whispered back, even though you still can't fold laundry. She laughed and kissed him again. The wedding was small, just family and close friends in Constance's garden on a perfect afternoon. Harper was the flower girl, taking her role with the military seriousness of a general commanding troops. She'd insisted on a rainbow theme because Miss V likes colors organized properly, and somehow Vivian had made it elegant instead of chaotic. Rainbow flowers arranged in graduated tones, creating an effect that was both whimsical and sophisticated. Curtis showed up, surprisingly, with an apology and a gift wrapped in silver paper. You were right, he told Cole before the ceremony, his voice gruff with embarrassment, about guys like us deserving better, about not letting bitterness win. I'm sorry for being such an ass. You got your promotion because you earned it, not because of who you married. Cole shook his hand firmly. Water under the bridge, man, and thank you for coming. It means something. As Vivian walked down the aisle on her mother's arm, as Harper scattered rose petals with precision that would make a military drill sergeant proud, as Cole waited at the altar, feeling like the luckiest man alive, he thought about all the moments that had led here. The discount milk, the desperate whisper in a fluorescent lit aisle, the first awkward dinner, the first real kiss, the board meeting where everything could have fallen apart, every messy, complicated, imperfect step that had brought them from strangers to this. Vivian reached him, her smile radiant behind her veil, and Cole saw tears already streaming down her face. Hi, she whispered, her voice shaking. Hi, Cole whispered back, his own eyes burning. You're crying. Happy tears. I never thought I'd get this. After Brandon, after everything, I thought I'd used up my chance at love. Good thing I'm stubborn and didn't believe you, Cole said. Good thing you saw past the CEO mask to the person underneath. Ready to make this official? The officiant asked, smiling at them. Been ready since the supermarket, Cole said, and Vivian laughed through her tears. They said their vows, real ones this time. not contracts or arrangements or carefully crafted deceptions, but promises they intended to keep. Cole promised to stand beside her through board meetings and bad days and moments when she forgot her own worth. Vivian promised to teach Harper that ambition was beautiful, to learn how to cook at least 10 meals without burning anything, and to never stop choosing him every single day. When the officiant pronounced them married, when Harper cheered loud enough to startle birds from the trees at Bashanimis, when Cole kissed his wife for the first time, he felt the last piece of himself that had been broken since his wife died finally heal over. At the reception, Harper cornered them both with the seriousness only a young child on a mission could muster. Okay, so now you're officially my mom, right, Miss V? Not Miss V anymore, just mom. Vivian crouched down, her wedding dress pooling around her like water, like clouds, like all the beautiful things Cole had never thought he'd deserve. If you want me to be, she said softly, voice thick with emotion, I want you to be. Harper threw her arms around Vivian's neck with the full force of childhood affection. I love you, Mom. I'm glad Daddy found you in the supermarket. I love you too, sweetheart. And I'm glad too, even though your daddy was buying discount milk and I was having a panic attack. Vivian looked up at Cole, her eyes swimming with happy tears. Best panic attack of my life. Best discount milk run of mine, Cole agreed, pulling them both into a hug. Someone called them to cut the cake. Harper demanded the biggest slice and got buttercream frosting in her hair. Constance made a toast about unexpected blessings and second chances that had half the guests crying into their champagne. Curtis took truly terrible photos on his phone that would somehow become Cole's favorites, precisely because they captured the chaotic joy rather than posed perfection. Later, when the party was over and Harper was asleep in the guest room, and Cole and Vivian were alone in their bedroom for the first time as husband and wife, Vivian looked at her new husband with wonder. We did it, she said, like she still couldn't quite believe it. We really did it. We started with the lie in a supermarket and ended up here. Yeah, Cole agreed, pulling her close, feeling her heartbeat against his chest. We really did. Best terrible decision I ever made. It was a terrible decision, Vivian laughed. Fake dating your boss? What were we thinking? We were thinking we were desperate and scared and out of options. We were thinking maybe we could help each other surgeon, and instead, we learned to live again. Cole kissed her forehead, her temple, her lips. Better than surviving. Much better. Outside, the world kept turning. At the warehouse, someone else's name was probably going on a layoff list. Someone else was facing impossible choices. In boardrooms across the city, people were making deals and breaking them, fighting for power and losing sight of what mattered. In supermarkets everywhere, desperate people were standing in fluorescent aisles, trying to make their money stretch, their lives work, their broken pieces fit together somehow. But here, in this moment, Cole Bennett and Vivian Cross had everything they needed. They'd started with a law and built a truth. They'd been broken separately and made each other whole. They'd taken a chance in a fluorescent-lit dairy aisle and turned it into forever. And if you asked either of them about that night, about the discount milk and the designer suit and the whispered plea that changed everything, they'd tell you the same thing. Sometimes the best things in life start with the worst ideas. Sometimes desperation leads to destiny. And sometimes when you're brave enough to ask for help and generous enough to give it, you find exactly what you didn't know you were looking for. A partner, a parent, a person to come home to, love real and messy and absolutely worth fighting for. Love that starts in the most unlikely places and grows into something that makes you believe in second chances, in new beginnings, in the possibility that broken things can heal if you're willing to be honest about the cracks. They fell asleep that night, wrapped around each other, Harper's soft breathing audible through the baby monitor they'd kept, more for comfort than necessity. And Cole thought about his late wife, about how she'd made him promise to keep living, to find joy again, to teach Harper that love wasn't finite, that loving someone new didn't diminish what they'd shared. He thought she'd like Vivian, would appreciate how she'd taught Harper to be bold, to take up space, to believe she deserved good things. And he thought maybe, wherever she was smiling, grateful that her family had found a way to be whole. The story of Cole Bennett and Vivian Cross is a deeply emotional journey that underscores the transformative power of authenticity and courage in the face of desperation. Cole, a struggling single father, agrees to Vivian's desperate plea to pose as her boyfriend to save her job as CEO, only for their fabricated relationship to blossom into genuine love. This narrative teaches us that even in our most vulnerable moments, choosing to be honest about our fears, our needs, and our feelings can lead to unexpected connections that heal and uplift. Harper's unwavering faith in her father and Vivian's bravery in confronting her past show that love and family are built on trust, not perfection. Their transition from a supermarket deal to a heartfelt marriage reveals that life's messiest beginnings can yield the most beautiful endings when we dare to embrace the truth. Cole's bold honesty at the board meeting, risking everything to defend Vivian, and Vivian's willingness to love again despite past betrayal remind us that real strength lies in vulnerability and standing together through uncertainty. This story stirs the soul, urging us to take risks for those we care about, to find value in our imperfections, and to believe that love can emerge from the unlikeliest of circumstances. We'd love to hear from you. Has a moment of honesty or a leap of faith ever reshaped your life or relationships? Share your story in the comments. We're inspired by every one. If this tale moved you, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to join our community of storytellers. Your support keeps these heartfelt narratives alive. So let's celebrate love and courage together. Subscribe now and be part of something truly meaningful.